everybody, so welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than my past few videos, which, as you guys know, they're basically a bunch of vlogs from this hospitalization stay. I think today is day 23, I could be wrong. But if you guys remember and you have been keeping up with all my vlogs this hospitalization and even maybe my last one, I mentioned in this hospitalization vlog day 9 and 10, I believe, that I was planning to do a Q&A, either like, about CF, about diabetes, like any kind of questions just about me, anything that you guys wanted to know. And if you remember my hospitalization stay 2 months ago, I did a Q&A as well, so that's why I thought maybe, I would do another one because, of course, I have many more subscribers, which I just hit 5K yesterday, so I'm so excited. I just happened to look and I was like just over the moon happy. So thank you guys so much. All the support really does mean a lot. But also, if you guys watched my Q&A the last hospitalization stay, I did it, like, combined it into a vlog, but it was kind of long, so I thought this time around I would just do a Q&A video separately, and I am vlogging today, so you guys will still see the vlog from today. Haven't really done much today, but as you guys can see, I did my hair and some makeup just to keep myself occupied and less bored. So that is why I, have a full face on of makeup, but it also makes me feel more like myself, more representable. So I thought it was a good day to do some makeup while I'm filming a video. So other than that, enough with the rambling. I guess we can just go ahead and get started. Okay, so this time around, I'm not really going to say who asked the questions. I'm just going to kind of, answer them. And of course, if your question gets answered, that is awesome. So let's see. So one of my questions, and I just of course came across a comment that somebody commented this, but I know it's not just this person who have commented. I get a bunch of comments asking about this, but I get questions saying, are you homeschooled, or what do you do about school when you're in the hospital? Just anything related to how I handle school with my health. And if you guys, like I said, have been following me for a really long time, you would know that I've mentioned before that it's only kind of been in like the past 2.5 years where my health has really just taken a toll and just pretty much like flipped a switch. And from 2010 to 2015, I wasn't admitted once into the hospital, which was awesome. But sadly, for about 2 or 3 years now, I've probably spent like maybe like 25 to 30 weeks in here in the past like 2 to 3 years. I don't really know. But anyway, so why I'm in the hospital, a lot of my teachers, or most of them, are really understanding, thankfully. And from the day I went into kindergarten, I've been on the IEP, which is an individual education plan. So basically means that, you have a reason why, either you struggle in school more, and everybody's IEP is different, but mine is obviously kind of just for my health. So, when I'm away, either whether it's in the hospital or sometimes, I just can't make it to school because I don't feel good, and there's a bunch of problems with CF for, why you need to miss things, and you CFers out there would understand. But, I also have a support teacher, so basically when I'm in the hospital, I do go to a public school, but whenever I come back, any of the work that I missed when I was away, they kind of just omit, which basically means I don't have to do it, and they don't count it as a grade. And for the past, 2 years especially, I felt like, honestly, I've learned nothing in school, which isn't my fault, though, because, of course, health is a priority. But, when I go back, of course, I do the work when I'm in class, or if I have any time to do any projects. But for the most part, school is definitely hard to handle, and I try my best. That's all what you can really do. But, my teachers are really understanding because, not like I can do anything. And even if I wanted to do homework when I'm in here, I've never been really smart at school because I've had other things to focus on. But while I'm in here, just because the environment is so different, I can never really focus on schoolwork in here. So it just wouldn't really, do anything or help. Okay, so the next question is, do you plan on getting any more tattoos or piercings? And for those of you who don't know, my only piercings are just, my ears, my nose, and then my belly button. And then also, I did vlog this, but on January 26th of this year, I got my first tattoo. So it is something to do with CF, of course. I don't know. I always just kind of knew that my first tattoo, was going to have to do something with CF. So basically, for those of you who don't know, and you know, I will link the vlog of my tattoo vlog down below if you guys want to go check that out. But it's 65 roses, and it represents CF. And the story behind that is actually really cute. Back in the 1960s, when, you know, CF was just kind of starting to, you know, get like discovered or diagnosed, I don't know, whatever really the word is. But I mean, back in the 1960s, kids couldn't even barely live up to the age of kindergarten, of course, because they didn't have any really treatments or had much research done into it. But so yeah, back in the 1960s, basically, I think it was a little girl, I could be wrong, she got diagnosed with CF, but she didn't know how to pronounce cystic fibrosis, so she would go around saying, I have 65 roses, and ever since then it's just, you know, been a meaning behind CF. And I think I first heard about that when I was 4 years old, and I just always thought it was so cute. So that's why in Children's Hospital there's 2 places where they just have this huge mural, something, I don't know, painting basically of just 65 roses. So here's the 65, here are the roses, some leaves. The guy did a really good job, I really like it. But so to answer the question, for piercings, maybe some more in my ears, but I don't really think so anywhere else. I'm not sure. But with the tattoos, I do know that I want quite a few more, but they're all going to be really little and sentimental. So I know I want one like just kind of here that says either breathe easy or just breathe with like a purple ribbon for CF. And I know somewhere like on my wrist, or like, yeah, probably on my wrist, I want something to do with diabetes, you know, just to represent, you know, that I'm a warrior for another reason, but also because if anything were to happen, I don't really wear like those bracelets that like show that you have diabetes, just because, I don't know, I don't. So I find if, you know, I just had a tattoo there, if anything were to happen, it'd be, you know, people would know. And then I also know that I want my dad's and my mom's birthdays in like Roman numerals or something behind my ear. I haven't really given anything too much thought, but I know that any tattoos I do end up getting will be very little and meaningful. Okay, so another question is, when were you diagnosed with diabetes? And I've mentioned this before, but for those of you who don't know, a lot of people with cystic fibrosis are kind of bound to get CF-related diabetes. So I don't have type 1, I don't have type 2, it's CF-related diabetes, but it is definitely more like type 1. Basically, the reason for that is because when you have CF, you know, your pancreas doesn't produce enzymes, and basically every single organ, you know, is affected by CF. But it's like the tubes that deliver the insulin to your body gets clogged or plugged up, I guess, with mucus, because as you guys know, mucus is the whole problem to CF. So that is why most people with CF end up getting diabetes. But I was diagnosed May 2012, so I either would have been 10 or turning 10, because my birthday's in June. So yeah, and then from May 2012 all the way up to February 2016, I just had to take 1 shot of insulin a day, and my sugars would stay stable throughout the whole entire day because it was a long-acting insulin. But then February 2016, so I guess 2 years ago now, things took a toll, and now I have been taking insulin with everything I eat or drink for the past 2 years. So whenever, you know, I want to eat, I pretty much do what a normal type 1 diabetic will do. I have to add up all my carbs, divide them by a number, and then to correct my sugars, you know, I take away 6 and divide by, right now I'm doing divide by 2, and then I have to add that up, so I have to do that every single time I eat, and you know, just keep it balanced. Okay, so the next question is, what are your favorite makeup brands? And as you guys know, I've been in love with makeup, like obsessed with makeup ever since I was probably about 7. I've always really been into makeup and beauty. So for my makeup, I kind of shop like more depending on the product. I don't really focus on brands too much, but if I look at all my makeup and like the brands, depending on high-end or drugstore, I, you know, can definitely realize that I do buy from more brands than others. So for high-end, probably Benefit, Too Faced, Urban Decay, and MAC. And for drugstore, Rimmel London, CoverGirl, L'Oreal, Revlon, and I think that's all. I feel like I'm missing one, but, oh, and NYX. NYX is another really good brand that I like. Moving on to the next question, how long have you been dancing? And I've been dancing since I was 3 years old, so I started out dance when I was 3, and when I was 3, I started off doing jazz. So my last year of jazz was 2 years ago. I kind of quit because I started to like hip hop more, and I wanted to focus on more hip hop. But from like the age of 3 to 14 or 15, I was doing jazz, and then I started doing hip hop in grade 5, so when I was 10, and then up, you know, just from then I've been doing hip hop competition all the way, just because I really enjoy hip hop a lot more. And then I tried out musical theater for 2 or 3 years, I think grade 7, 8, and 9 or something. But sadly with dance, because especially in the past 2 years, and I do competition, you know, so it's more like, what's the word? Like, I don't know, you just have to kind of like be more focused and like work harder. And because I've been in the hospital so much, it's really hard to, you know, contribute to dance and stuff, because, you know, I can't really make it to the classes. Like, you know, my class is like doing competitions right now, but obviously I can't participate because I'm in here. So for next year, I might have to look into getting a gym membership and sadly not doing dance anymore, which would totally suck, but I feel like it's really unfair to my, you know, the people that I dance with, and obviously they understand that I can't control it. CF is like a roller coaster, right? You can't just get better. Some months you're healthier than others. But yeah, this year and last year I struggled a lot because I missed a lot of dance, and it's stressful when I go back and I like have to like catch up on all this choreography. So, you know, I've always loved dancing, but it's hard to dance and, you know, go to every single class when you've missed so much from your health. Sadly, that's like the way it is, and I really can't do anything to fix it. Moving on to the next question. How did you meet your boyfriend, and is he supportive with your CF / diabetes? So Chase, my boyfriend, obviously I'm guessing that all of you guys know him by now because he's been in many videos and vlogs. It was just our 1 year on February 28th. I first met him in grade 7, I think at like a school dance. We didn't go to the same elementary school, but I remember in December when I was in grade 7, a bunch of elementary schools in the area joined together at a high school and had like a winter formal dance. And I think I met him there, but I'm pretty sure I like followed him on Instagram or something before that. But if you guys know, and I've mentioned this before, Chase, like, okay, when I went into grade 8, so I was 13, yeah, 13, you know, I'm 4'11", I'm 5 feet, I'm really short, you know, my family's really short too, my mom's 5 feet, you know, everyone in my family is short, but as you guys also know, CF, because you don't absorb fats and proteins, can make you really short. So even if I didn't have CF, I guarantee you I'd be this height, or maybe a little bit taller. Anyway, yeah, so when I came into grade 8, there was 3 guys in my whole entire grade that I was taller than, and I was 4'11". Yeah, Chase was one of those guys. In grade 8, he was like either 4'9.5" or like 4'10". Like, he's always been really, really tiny. And, you know, when I first met him, like, he's just like, he actually, you know, my boyfriend does have a lot of stuff that happened in his life, and his life isn't, you know, perfect, and that's kind of like mine too. So, you know, we can keep each other grounded, and like me, he doesn't just kind of get life given to him, you know, he really has to work hard for things, which is good, I think. So he's always been like this bubbly, like happy little kid. And so we became friends in grade 8, and then grade 9 we were really close, and then grade 10, which is the year we started dating, we were really close too. But for those of you who don't know, also I was in another long-term relationship before that, and it was a really unhealthy, toxic relationship. And I think the whole time something deep inside me knew, like, why am I dating this person? But I just, you know, had the idea of like being in love, or just like wanted to have this perfect relationship. And I was just, it was horrible. It affected my health mentally and emotionally, and, you know, I've learned better now. You know, at least I went from like the bad guy to the good guy, because Chase is the total opposite from my ex-boyfriend. So that's why it's so funny, because I look at the both of them, and I'm like, what? But yeah, so I broke up with my ex-boyfriend January 2017. It's like just over a year ago. And then within the next month, or a month after, I started dating Chase. And like I said, me and Chase have been friends for so many years, so I guess I kind of met him through school. And then I think I kind of started to realize I liked him more, just because we would talk like 5 hours a day on FaceTime for like 2 weeks straight. And just being as friends, right? Because we've always been so close, and I even before I started dating him, I could trust him with anything. But then I kind of started to realize I kind of liked him more, and I know that he liked me December of 2015, so when I was in grade 9. And I remember my friend told me, she was like, you know, like, Chase likes you, and I was like, you know, I just see him more as a friend just because he was still so like little, and he was like probably 5'1", and you know, but then all of a sudden grade 10, he was like, I was like, oh, okay, who are you? So yeah, basically that's just kind of how we, you know, started. And I kind of approached him about, you know, being interested first. And then I remember the first time we hung out, it was like not awkward because we were so close, but just, you know, because we were so used to being friends, and we both know we wanted to be more than that. So it was kind of funny, like going from the best friend stage to a relationship stage. But now I couldn't imagine him as a friend at all, right? So anyway, oh, okay, I totally get sidetracked. I'm so sorry. I'm one of those people. Hopefully you guys find my stories interesting. But he is very, very supportive with my CF and diabetes, like beyond supportive, and I'm so thankful and grateful for that, because in my last relationship, like not at all. And of course, when you have so many health problems, mentally and emotionally and physically, you need someone to support you. He's great, you know, he motivates me a lot. He like is totally like, check your sugars, Melissa. He knows when my sugars are high. Like I can definitely tell when I'm low, but not really high. He's like just like a little diabetic dog almost. Like he can sense when my sugars are low or high, or like he makes sure I'm on top of my physio, and like just he's awesome. I'll put it that way. He's very, very supportive. Okay, so I'm going to try and answer as many questions as I can before like the sun, actually there is no sun out, but it's gonna get dark soon. It's like 5:30 right now. So somebody asked, what does cystic fibrosis feel like? Does it make you upset when you have to go in the hospital, or is it just a normal thing at this point? And like I mentioned, throughout my whole entire life, I've always been really open about my illness and understanding, and I've always had a good point of view about it. But, you know, in the past 2 to 3 years, I've been in the hospital a lot more than I normally do. So at this point, I don't want to say it's a normal thing, because obviously, you know, when I find out I have to get admitted, I'm not like, oh, like, okay, like whatever. You know, obviously it upsets me because, you know, when I'm in here, not only do I miss out on like all my dancing and like school work, it's also like my mental and emotional health that, you know, I miss out on so many social things like with my friends. And, you know, it's just hard watching like on Snapchat or Instagram all people like your age having fun, you know, like going to parties, just doing all this adventurous stuff, especially in spring break. And then I'm like, oh, I'm in here. But, you know, that's my life, and, you know, if I could change it, I would, but sadly, I can't. But, you know, it definitely makes me have more of a perspective on life, and makes me take my health not for granted, and just totally, you know, just like changes the way I think, or yeah, think about life, I guess you could say. You know, obviously, like I said, it sucks going in here. Obviously, I'm upset. I would like to feel like any other normal teenager my age, but sadly I don't, and I've never really felt normal, you know, because with CF, you know, you never get a break from it. It's everyday treatments, everyday pills, everyday health care, right? So, I mean, like I said, I grew up, like, knowing a lot about hospitals and being comfortable in hospitals, so, yeah, it's just my life, I guess. Okay, so the next question is, do any of your siblings also have, I don't know how to pronounce that word, I'm sorry. I also don't have my glasses on, so I'm like, gene mutations, basically meaning they are carriers. Like, do they have the CF gene? Because if you don't know, CF is genetic, so you get it at birth, and every 1 in 25 people have the gene. And then, of course, you need to meet up with another carrier of the gene. And, you know, when you're having a baby, there's only still a 25% chance that your baby will be born with CF. So that is why CF is so uncommon. Obviously, I know I have the gene, and the gene came from my mom. It came from my mom's dad's side of the family. And, you know, my dad passed away when I was a year old, but I think we did some looking into this after, and I think it came from my dad's mom's side of the family as well, I think. So all my siblings have like a 50% chance of having the gene. They've never gotten tested though. The next question is, does your brother's girlfriend want to be tested for gene mutations as well? She and him could, like basically saying if my brother and his girlfriend got married and want to have children. You know, my brother's girlfriend is a type 1 diabetic, so I don't really know how she feels about that, because of course when people have health issues and they want to get pregnant, it's a whole other process you have to think about. But I don't think she's been tested, not too sure. And she said, We love Lisa and Linda, which is my mom and my nana, but does your father ever come to visit you? Is he a part of your life? So, as I just mentioned, my dad passed away when I was 14 months, but my stepdad came into my life when I was 2. So basically, you know, he's my dad role model, but I've never called him dad. Just haven't, you know, I still see him as my stepdad. He's so supportive and so awesome and so loving and so caring, you know, so that's great. I'm so happy that my mom, you know, met a guy that, you know, can help her, because obviously she has to deal with a lot, but yeah, so my dad has, you know, I still see my dad's side of the family, of course, but, you know, I've never really got to know my dad since I was only a baby when he passed. But of course, when I watch like family videos and you know, I can hear his voice, it's almost kind of weird, and I hear stories about him from all my family members, so I feel like I do know him for sure in his personality, but of course I don't at the same time. Okay, so somebody asked, you have the best relationship with Nathan and Amy, which is my younger sister and brother. Do they get jealous of you sometimes when you're in the hospital? And I don't think that question was really worded. Like, I think what the person meant is like, do they get jealous if you get more attention when you're in the hospital? Because I don't think either of them would ever want to be in the hospital. I don't think anybody would. But yeah, I think they just more meant like, do they ever get jealous of like when you're in the hospital and like my mom obviously comes to spend more time with me. I think when I was little, I mean, Nathan was born when I was 10. I was 4 when Amy was born. And there was 2 times, you know, when I was in for quite a long time when I was 7 and 9 years old. And of course, since I was little, my mom would stay with me for the whole 2 weeks it normally was. And, you know, then I'm assuming, you know, it's not even just Amy and Nathan, but at the time, my older brother, Cam, who's now 25, you know, he's a teenager then, I guess, and my older sister, Allie, who's now 19 or 20, you know, she was only 3 years older than me at those ages, so I'm sure it wasn't just Amy and, you know, Nathan wasn't born yet then, but when I was younger, I think they more were, not like, obviously they understood it, but I mean, I think it's just like, no, I think it's just kind of the thought of like, you know, my mom having to stay with me more, but, you know, obviously she kind of had to, but, you know, in the past 3 years when I've been in, my mom, like, probably stays, like, 50% of the nights, but some nights, you know, I just like being here alone. Obviously, I don't really mind it at all. So I think, you know, Amy and Nathan are okay with it because my mom can kind of even her time out here and at home. And like I said, I have 3 siblings from my dad's side of the family. Also, if you don't know, just gonna put this out there, I've already mentioned it, I have 7 siblings, but they're all half, so my family's really confusing, so I hopefully will do a video on that soon. But with the siblings from my dad's side, they're all like 26 or older, so whenever I was in the hospital, I never really had a good relationship with them when I was younger, so it didn't really affect them at all. So another question that I get asked pretty frequently is, have you ever thought about getting a service dog for your diabetes and CF? Not really. I don't really think I need it too much because, you know, like the service dog can also tell, you know, when your sugars are low, I think, or high. I haven't really looked into it much, but I can also tell that pretty well myself. Maybe when I'm older, I will, but my stepdad is allergic to dogs and cats really bad, so we don't have any kind of animals except for some gerbils that my little sister got like 4 years ago. But, you know, I don't really not really looked into it at this age, but maybe when I'm older, who knows. Another question that I've gotten asked a few times is, what is going to happen when you turn 18? Will you be treated at Children's Hospital or will you go to an adult hospital? And here where I live, as soon as you turn 18, that's where you, yes, basically when you turn 18, that's when you transfer to an adult hospital. So I already know what hospital I will go to because it's the hospital that most people who have CF transfer to. And it'll be really, really, really sad leaving this place, that's for sure, but life happens and you just gotta do it. But obviously I will come back here to visit and stuff. But I mean, this place has been like my second home since I was born, so it would be definitely weird thinking that I had to leave this place because, you know, I always kind of knew that the time would come when I'm 18, but I'm almost 17 in 4 months and I never even saw that coming. So it's just weird to think how fast, like, the time is, like, came to the point where I need to graduate from this hospital because it's just like, what? I'm already that old. The next question is, how often do you get your nails done, and are they gel or acrylic? So my nails are acrylic. I've been getting acrylic nails since July 2016, so I guess almost 2 years. And I get them done every 3 to 4 weeks. And as you can see, they're really long. I'm used to having long nails. People always say, like, how do you do anything with those nails? But for me, since I'm so used to having long nails, like if I ever got short nails, you know, I'd have to learn how to text differently and stuff. So these are really long though because they're really grown out. I got these done on February 11th, so like 2 days before I got admitted, thinking I'd be out on the 27th, but it's now like the 8th. So these are definitely gonna be long overdue by the time I get out. I'm gonna have to get them redone and my pinky nail's broken. But yeah, so I get them done in every different colors, but I usually like to fade them down so when I do go out, it's not as noticeable. It's a little bit of my trick that I have, so yeah. Okay, so a question that everyone has mostly been asking is how old are you? I will be 17 in June. Okay, so this is a really good question. I have a heart condition that makes me spend a lot of time in the hospital. The biggest thing that I struggle with is lack of privacy from nurses checking on monitors, and incisions sites on my chest. How do you deal with constantly having privacy invaded during hospital stay? Basically, I have a sign that says, please knock and wait for a response. I mean, as you can see, like those curtains, so I always put those in. Whenever I'm changing, I'm in the bathroom, which that has a door and no one comes in, obviously. I also have a sign that says, I'm having a bath, don't come in. So if I am having a bath, I'll put that up. But I think on the hospital I'm at, they're really like, respectful with privacy, and like I said, I change in the bathroom, but if I'm like FaceTime one of my friends and stuff and I hear a knock, I'm just kind of like, okay, shh, but I don't know, I've never really struggled. Well, I mean, obviously it does suck because you don't really have a lot of privacy when you're in here, but I just have to be, you know, very careful, and if I'm going to the washroom and if someone comes in, I just say, I'm going to the washrooms, and they're like, okay, I'll come back in 5 minutes, or okay, I'm just gonna put your meds here, but obviously it sucks, but there's nothing, you know, really you can do about it. Not like there's a lock on like your door or anything. Another question is, when is your birthday? So my birthday is June 26, 2001. And somebody asked when you are not in the hospital, if you hit a low/high in your sleep, do you feel it and wake up? Yes, like a good 98% of the time I do. You know, I don't really ever wake up from my sugars being high if they are high. I mean, obviously before I go to bed, I check them to make sure they're at a good number. But really high sugars only really affect you long term, where if your sugars are low, it's like, you know, you need to deal with it immediately. But for the most part, I do wake up in my low sugars, and if I don't, it scares me, and then, you know, I start kind of have anxiety about it. So then the next day, I guess I would just kind of maybe go to bed with my sugars a little bit higher. The next question is, how old were you when you were diagnosed, and what were your symptoms? So I was 5 months when I was diagnosed with CF, and for those of you who don't know, I have explained this before, but my cousin Emily, she also has CF and diabetes, and she's only 50 days younger than me. She got diagnosed at 3 months, and you know, after she got diagnosed, her mom, which is my mom's cousin, kind of just said it to my mom, you know, like, hate to scare ya, but a lot of Melissa's symptoms seem like Emily's, and then that's where we, you know, we started more looking into it, and then I ended up getting tested with a sweat test because, you know, our sweat glands are different, so I taste like salt, like pure salt, like a McDonald's French fry. So yeah, that's basically how they test to see if you have CF. But my symptoms, of course, when you're a baby, your lungs aren't just gonna be bad right away, so it's more digestive problems. Like when I was 5 months, I was only like 11 pounds, I think, and I was really tiny, and I was always miserable, right? Because basically I was starving because I wasn't absorbing fats or proteins, and you know, I had no enzymes to help me with that because my body wasn't producing any, so I was basically just starving all the time, which of course made me unhappy as a baby. Like in all my baby pictures, like in my baby book, I look so like sick and so fragile, and of course, you know, when my mom would feed me, it'd just come out the other end because my food couldn't digest it. And then of course the salty skin. So I remember my mom always said that my mom and my nana would like lick me to see if I tasted salty, and they were like, oh yeah, she does kind of taste salty, but they were thinking maybe it was just in their head. Yeah, that's basically all my symptoms, and you know, after the results came back, and yep, I was a salty one, so that is how I got diagnosed. Okay, so I'm just going to wrap it up real quickly. I've already answered quite a good amount of questions from my YouTube, and I just recently posted a picture on my spam account asking for more questions if any of you guys had any last minute questions. So someone asked, can you fly with CF? Does the different air pressure affect you at all? I'm so curious. And no, it does not as far as I'm concerned, because I've been on a lot of planes before, well, I'll watch. But you know, yeah, I don't think that's ever affected anybody with CF. It definitely hasn't affected me, and you know, growing up I never got told you can't go on a plane. The only places I've really been is I've been to like Disneyland, California, and like LA 3 or 4 times, and then I went to the Dominican Republic when I was 4, and Halifax, Nova Scotia when I was 8, and I feel like I'm missing some place, but I think that's all like the flying vacations I've been on. So yeah. Okay, the next question, one of my friends actually asked, and she said, how are you so persistent with your YouTube? And how do you block out other opinions about what you do? And like I said, you know, I restarted my YouTube channel only like 6 months ago, I guess, October 2017. And before, you know, I started YouTube when I was 11, and then I kind of just slowly stopped at the age of like 13. I've always kind of been into making videos. If any of you guys remember the app like Keek, it wasn't too popular, but I always made videos on there. That's kind of how I got inspired to, and you know, I think I was more like intimidated when I was in grade 8 and 9 because I think I cared too much about what people thought, especially anybody older than me. But you know, now I realized YouTube is something I really like to do. It definitely helps with my health, mentally and emotionally, because you know, if I do get a lot of positive feedback, obviously that makes me really happy, and I need all the good positive feedback I can get with, you know, everything I have going on in my life. So obviously there's some people who are gonna say like, oh my god, like why are you doing YouTube, like that's so stupid, like just basically a bunch of negativity, and I'm not like a negative person, so I don't really care too much about the people's opinions. I never really have been a person like that, but if people ever say anything to me, I'm just like, how does that affect you? You know, I'm doing what I love. I'm hoping to, you know, get better at it and build my channel more and more. And it's also, my channel is of course about beauty and fashion and other stuff I'm into, like funny videos, but the main focus is spreading awareness for cystic fibrosis and even diabetes too. So, you know, I'm doing it for a good thing, and I've always wanted to do, you know, YouTube and have a platform where I can do something good and spread awareness. So, you know, I'm glad that my channel is finally starting to grow, so just the more awareness can be spread. Yeah. Okay, so other than that, that will be it for today's video. You know, I hope I answered your question, or like I said, a lot of the questions were really similar, so I kind of tried to put other answers into an answer, so that's kind of why a lot of my answers were long, which I hope you guys don't mind. But as everyone knows, I'm a huge talker, and you know, hopefully basically your question got answered, but if it didn't, you know, you can always comment below if you have any more. I hope that all of you guys really enjoyed today's video, something a little bit different, a video that can maybe help you guys get a better understanding of CF or diabetes, or just even learn more about me, because I think it's always fun to know more about the YouTubers and the people that you watch. It's also starting to get really dark outside, so I can't really continue this video on too much longer, but you know, I hope that you didn't get bored. And I guess after I close out this video, I'm gonna go back to vlogging, because as I said, I'm vlogging today. Other than that, I hope you guys are having a really good day, and I hope that you will have a great week ahead of you. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, please, because it would really mean a lot, and of course, subscribe if you haven't. And you know, comment below any requests or any other questions you have, and I will see you guys in my next video. I feel like a commercial, like, hair model right now, because my hair is usually never, like, curled and, like, volumized. Inside.